two children get out of the cars they are in and change places. The little girl then gets into the car, closes the door and hides behind the seat. The little boy then does the same thing as her. Meanwhile, two people finish talking and say goodbye. The man then gets into his car. At that moment, the two children come out from where they were hiding and sit on the bench. The man then asks his son how his day was and the little girl replies that it was good. The woman then asks her daughter how her test was and the little boy replies that it was good. The man then asks her if her son was hungry and she says no. He then asks if his son was alright and the little girl says yes. Later, the woman was driving her car when the little boy gets scared and tells her to pay attention to the street. The woman then gets scared of that and says he wasn't her daughter. The boy then says that he got into the wrong car and asks the woman to take him to his father. The woman says yes. Later, the man was with the girl. He opens the door of his house and the girl goes to her mother. The boy goes to his father and hugs him. The man then apologizes to the woman and says that this had never happened to him before. The woman then tells him not to worry and that it never happened to her either, but says the children do that kind of thing. The boy then calls the girl to play and the two enter the house. The man then says let the two of them play together for a while and calls the woman to come in and have a drink. The woman accepts the man's invitation and enters the house. They then go into the kitchen and the man carefully opens the window. He then calls the woman over to see what the two were doing. She then goes to the window and the two watch their children play. The two children were having fun together. The man then says he was happy to see his son making friends and getting along with other kids. He says that ever since they moved in, his son hasn't been getting along with the kids and that's been worrying him. The woman says she was also happy that it was happening. The boy then says that the girl's mother could date her father. She says that she wanted this to happen, but that her mother no longer believed in love. The boy says that he had a plan and that they would do everything for the two to be together. The little girl then says that she would trust him. The woman then says that she really wanted someone to relate to, but that it was very difficult to find someone. The man agrees with the woman and says that it really was difficult to find someone who would accept him and his young son. The boy then asks his father if they could have lunch together and the girl asks her mother to have lunch with them. The woman then asks her daughter how he could offer to have lunch at other people's houses like that. The man then says he didn't have a problem and asks the woman to accept their invitation. He says that if she accepts, he would prepare lunch with lots of love and care. He then says that he was very good at cooking and asks his son to confirm and the boy says that his father was the best cook in town. The man then says he has an idea and tells everyone to cook together. This makes the children very happy and they celebrate. Later, they were preparing the food when the boy asks to be able to help. The girl then also asks to be able to help and the man says that she could. Meanwhile, the woman was watching the three of them together. She seems to be very happy seeing that. The three then begin to dance and have a great time together. The man then tells the girl to go get her mother and she goes to her. The two then go up to the two and start dancing with them. Later, the girl goes to a room and starts to go through a bag. She takes her purse and hides it under the bed. She then goes back to where they were and starts dancing with them. They are having a very happy time together. The girl then says that she would take a picture of them and takes her cell phone. They then take a photo together and the girl tells her mother that they could date. The woman says that was a lack of respect for the man and asks her to stop. The boy says that the girl was right and their parents could get to know each other better. The man says that that could even happen, but that there would be a time for it that wasn't that one. He says the two would talk later. The woman then despairs and says she had to leave. She then asks her daughter where her purse was. The man tells her to shut up and asks if he couldn't be in the car. She says she was sure she had gone into the house with the bag and asks her daughter where it was. The man says he hadn't seen her go into the house with the purse and says she could have left it in the car. The woman says that she was sure of that and that she was there somewhere. She then starts looking and ends up finding it under the bed. She then asks if her daughter had done that, as she used to do that kind of thing. She says they would leave at that point. The man then says that the woman didn't need to talk to her daughter that way. The woman yells at the man and says that she knew how to raise her daughter. She then apologizes and says she was very nervous. The two then go to the car and get in it. Sometime later, the man tells his son that the location they had was leading them to that point. He then says he would go down to check and tells his son to stay in the car. The boy then calls the girl and says that they just arrived at her house. The girl then answers the phone and is happy, because the plan of the two would work. The man then goes to the house and knocks on the door. The woman answers the door and asks what the man was doing there. He says his cell phone location was leading there. She then says that that cell phone that was with her was his and gives it to him. The man thanks the woman and says he needed to take his son to school, but they could talk more later. The woman then says goodbye to the man and closes the door. The girl then tells her mother not to let the man go because she really wanted a brother. The woman says that they had already talked about that subject, but the girl tells her mother to think again and tells him to remember how happy she was when her father was around. The woman then says that her daughter was right and goes after the man. She tells him to wait. She says she couldn't fake what she was feeling for him. The man then asks what she was feeling and she says she was liking him. He asks if she was serious and she says yes. He then says that he was also very fond of her and that makes the woman very happy. The two then start kissing and the two kids walk over to them.